My name is Linford Fisher. I'm an associate professor of history at Brown University, and I recently completed a book titled Stealing America: The Hidden Story of Indigenous Enslavement in U.S. History. This book is a wide-ranging history of Native American enslavements in American history that has often been overlooked or hidden for a number of different kinds of reasons. But importantly, it also intersects with another history that is more well-known, that of the stealing of Native American lands. So there's a saying out there that says that the United States has two original sins. First, the enslavement of African peoples, and secondly, the dispossession of Native Americans, the taking of their lands. But in this book, I show these two processes are actually really connected, and that the stealing of Native people through enslavement and servitude actually enables the stealing of Native lands that allowed the United States to spread across the continent and become the country that it is today. So one of the things I was trying to understand in this book is how the history of Native American slavery and the interconnection with land stealing had been so hidden in U.S. history. It became pretty apparent to me, first of all, that there is a lot of evidence of Native American enslavement throughout American history, if we're willing to dig through the archives and try to find evidence for this. But also, in many cases, there's what some Native scholars have called documentary genocide, where the race and identity of Native people have been obscured. So you see this throughout American history, this attempt to erase Native people in the archives. One of the things that really stood out to me as I was researching and writing this book are the number of stories that keep on reappearing throughout this history. Often you have very intimate stories of individuals who are forced into servitude in a household, or who try to escape from a household and they run away, and then an advertisement is placed for their recapture in local newspapers. Or we have oral history narrations of ancestors who tried to flee enslavement as well. One just example is an Indigenous person named Jack. That wasn't his original name, of course, but that's what the English renamed him. He was from what's called the Mosquito Shore, which is right now Nicaragua and Honduras in Central America. He was caught up in the Mosquito Shore indigenous slave trade. He was probably taken to Jamaica, and from Jamaica up to North America. Somehow, through probably a series of sales, ended up in a household in New Jersey in 1757, and then subsequently ran away. And so then his enslaver put out an advertisement in a local newspaper for his recapture. And there's some really interesting details that are given about him in terms of what he's wearing, how tall he is, and it's like this intimate glimpse into Jack as an individual, even though it's through the lens of his enslaver. One of the things that was really neat about this book writing process is that it intersected with another project I was working on, which is called the Stolen Relations Project. The Stolen Relations Project came out of the research for this book because I wanted to find a way to centralize documents related to Indigenous enslavement and make them available to tribes, to communities, and to the wider public. So starting in 2015, I began collaborating with people here at Brown and then eventually local Native nations to find, to interpret, and then to post on a website as many of the records as we could find. And so that project has really grown, but the collaborations with Native nations has really shaped this book. One of the important things that I think it's helpful to recognize is that this history isn't just the past. It was a really important understanding that was passed on to me by Native collaborators and conversation partners, is that Native peoples today live with these legacies in a really visceral way, and in a way that's often invisible to non-Indigenous populations. I hope readers understand a couple of different things about this history. I mean, first of all, just to learn about its existence and to know that Native people are part of slavery history in the United States is a really important point. I also hope they get a sense of the persistence of Indigenous presence all throughout American history as well. And the fact that the United States was systematically and continually trying to colonize them in certain kinds of ways is a part of the legacy of our country. And it's a really hard history. It's a hard reality that we have to keep on wrestling with. And the fact that slavery was so central to that history, the fact that stealing Native children often and women was so central to that history, is again a very hard history that we need to keep on wrestling with, I think, and I hope, in order to do better today in the present in terms of bringing justice and more equitable dealings with Native peoples in the United States.